A building is more than just a space with walls and a roof. The best designs are not just beautiful, but most importantly, efficient to be used as homes and offices. That's why the people who design the spaces we occupy, architects, have a great promise of building their small businesses into bigger ones. So, if you be person wey sabi draw, if you take pencil say draw anything, house, car, if you be say you suppose go school, go learn architecture, who tell you say that kiosk, that Baba Ijebu kiosk, not fit fine as it is so, if you take time design something wey correct? Think am o. Welcome to SME Chronicles, Business School on Television, where we track the progress of small and medium-scale enterprises and then help you grow yours. When you hear the sound of the bell after the break, it means that the class is about to start. And I'll catch you then. My name is Funmi. Great buildings like the Sistine Chapel in Rome have been around for hundreds of years and still remain a tribute to the highest level of architecture. In Nigeria, architects are becoming that ambitious and are making good business out of creating structural masterpieces. So, don't take small eye look architecture and no be Oyibo man work alone. If you get interest for there, go school, go learn am. And no be only big building them need them. As things they go for Nigeria, now correct business. Our guest, Mr. Kunle Ashiru, is an architect who is building his brand one design at a time. Hello, Kunle. Welcome to the show.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Architecture
has
come a long way in Nigeria. And how has been your work with architecture? Why architecture?
Why architecture? Funny enough, I'd always wanted to be an architect since age, I think 7 or 10. I'm not sure now. I was in primary school.
Okay.
That much I can remember. And I remember that one day I was watching a program on NTA. There are only a few stations there anyway. And they were talking about buildings and all of that. And my dad comes in and the word architect flashed on the screen, and I was like, Dad, who's an architect? What does he do? And he told me this is what he does, and I just got hooked. I knew from then that I wanted to be an architect.
That's a similar story to mine. When watching the same NTA, I saw Eugenia Abu, and I knew what I wanted to be. But back to you. How long have you been in the business?
2014, 14 years now.
And how long have you run your own business?
About 6 years. So
what was the kickoff point? How did you give birth to your own business?
You know, funny enough, I never also knew that I was going to run my business. I was someone who early on, I was more tailored to managing other people's businesses. When I started off, I did a short stint of about 8 months with one of the largest now architectural firms in the country, you know, and the 8-month stint I did there, you know, took me through the next phase where I spent 7 years.
7?
7 years, yeah. I paid my dues. 7 years working for someone else. And, you know, during that time, God helping, I managed the office well, the projects, all that. We had extensive projects outside Lagos, you know, all over. And at a certain point in time, I just felt tired. You know, there are times where you just sit down and you're wondering, why am I in this? Why am I doing this? But because I love what I do, I knew I was not going to leave architecture. The question was then, what next? You know, and I had offers. You know, some people had come and said, look, why don't you come work for us? And then the new generation banks were springing up. They're also looking for people to come manage their projects, their branch expansion and all that. And, you know, one day I just said to myself, look, I think I've had enough. Let me stop here. And in that process, I resigned and I sat down thinking of what's the next step. And the next step for me was going to look for who I would work with again. I had a senior colleague who really wanted me to come and work for him. And one, you know, the way things work, I was in church one morning, we finished service, I just came out of church, and I saw an old friend, he just drove past with his wife. Kunle, how you doing? Baoni? I'm like, hey, guy, how now? How do you do? And he's like, so what's up? What are you doing now? I said, I just resigned from my work. And I'm, wow. And I said, wow, his mom is looking for somebody to do something.
And that's how you kicked off.
That's how I kicked off.
In this little story you've said, I picked out two things. I picked out the fact that you love what you do, that's passion.
Yeah.
And then also that you had to pay your dues. You went through stewardship, which people really don't like doing.
Yeah.
They just want to jump into it. How have those two qualities fashioned you in building your own business?
For anyone who, if you read all these books about entrepreneurship, doing your business, the first thing anybody always says is you must love what you're doing. I mean, like we had a discussion, you find most people who read engineering are probably investment bankers, and they're so wonderful at what they do. I have friends who studied, my brother studied aerospace and aeronautic engineering.
Okay.
Right now, he's a brand consultant, he's a strategy consultant. I mean, he's not even doing anything aero. Yeah. Besides, he's not doing anything like that at all. So for me, passion has always been key. And I don't know why God did it that way. Like I said, I've always loved architecture. And for me, that process of going from what someone wants, for instance, we could take this studio as an example. If the owner of the studio came and said, look, as an architect, this is what he wants, and you know, we sit down, we think about it through from inception to conception to when it finally becomes a reality. That's
fantastic.
It does something.
I see that it does.
Yeah.
And so you kicked off your business.
Yeah.
When you started your business, did you have enough to kick off? Did you have to start from home? Did you have to start from...
Does anybody have, well, some people do. Some people do,
Did you have to start from home, your bedroom, turn a room into an office?
I started from my living room. I had a table, 1.5 meters by 1 meter. Okay. I had a chair. I managed to buy a desktop computer. And I remember in December, I started in October. In December, a particular company gave us a project. It's a bank, I'll mention it, because you know, when banks give you projects, they always squeeze you for time and all that. And I had a 2-week deadline to present a project of about 3 months. And I remember all I did was sit at the table on that chair from morning. My wife went out, came back home.
She'll meet you there.
She'll meet me there. My son came back home. Daddy, what are you doing? Because I had to. So
you have to get ready for takeoff.
So that's how I started.
From your living room?
From my living room.
Okay. Now, from his living room, he started his own business. It means that you can start your business from anywhere. Anywhere you have a little space, even in your bedroom. We'll look at a day in the life of Mr. Kunle, and we'll be back after the break. Kunle Ashiru completed his education at the University of Lagos, where he proceeded for his NYC at the Building Engineering Service Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, where he was fully involved in the construction documentation of the renovation of the CBN housing estates in Niger, Kano, Kaduna, Kwara states, respectively. He has over 14 years' experience in the industry, fully involved in construction and project management, as well as design development at the highest levels. He has established an inch in the numerous residential estate development schemes. In 2013, he was the recipient of the Leatherworld Bright Idea Award, with the entry Chair Melon in the Best Furniture Designer of the Year category. Happily married with 3 children, he brings his experience to the firm, with the main focus of providing quality service to the industry. Welcome back. This is SME Chronicles. We're talking to Kunle Ashiru, an architect who's been in this business for quite some time and who has had humble beginnings, if I may say that, kicking off his business in his living room. And from his living room, what was the next point of call?
Well, from the living room, I then managed to get a small office, from where I now moved to the present location. Well, still mid-size.
But better than the corner you gave
definitely,
yourself in your living
definitely.
room. And how has the business been? I know that in kicking off your business, most times you are the accountant, you're the CEO, you're the cleaner, you're everything together. Did that happen for you as well?
Oh, yes. Very well. I remember when I moved into the office, at times, when you have meals and stuff like that. In fact, my table was right by the door. So as soon as you come in, you see me. But we thank God, there's been a bit of progress. Moved on from there, been able to employ a few people here and there. At times we do outsource, depending on the scale, the scope of the work, but so far so good.
So far so good. Yeah. Now, I'm going back to your humble beginnings, because it's very important in building a business that some people are too scared to kick off. And when they do kick off, when they meet a little turbulence, they tend to want to land quickly and then not take off again. So I need to go back to when you moved into your first office. Now, managing finance, managing administration, and you were practically just the only person in the office. How did you pull through?
Well, remember I said, whilst I was working at the previous firm where I worked for 7 years, fortunately enough, my boss, I was, if I could use the word, running the office. My boss gave me the leeway to handle most of that stuff. I knew about the finances that were coming in. I knew what we were earning, what we were spending. I knew, I had info on the projects and stuff like that. So it helped me. I've always, by God's grace, I've always tried to be diligent in what I do, be efficient in what I do, whatever I handle, either for people or for So whilst I was doing all of that, by the time I started my business, it was a bit difficult, particularly finance aspects, because then I now had to, start reaching out to people. Look, how exactly do you do this? How do I run proper books, bookkeeping? How do you keep accounts? How do you do stuff? How do you record bills and all of that, accounting terms and all of that. And then my wife also helped out because she's also a bit into the finance sector. So if I had an issue, I called her, hey, madam,
how do I do this?
How do I do this? And then she'll tell me, and then we'll do that. So it's been...
So it's important to realize that even in your days of stewardship or work and paying your dues, you had lessons that you learned there that were vital for kicking off your business.
In fact, the very first firm I worked, I stayed there for 8 months. And I can honestly say that the 8 months I spent there has taken me through where I am now. When I say people don't believe it, that was in 2001. And I made sure, something about me is I always want to learn, no matter, I always don't assume that I know everything, even up till now, because it's a very expansive, profession. So even whilst I was there, fortunately I was in the office of one of the associates or partners, I can't remember now, and so my screen was beside his. And oftentimes I'll be drawing and then I will be, turning around, what's he doing? And then of course they were working on some pretty large projects then. And I always wanted to know, can I work on this? Can I do this? And I remember one particular scenario. I had a project for a top client, and I remember we're designing his bathroom for the bedroom for 3 months. I'm not sure I can go into the technical details. Yeah, 3 months.
Well, the bathroom is a very important place.
Yeah, but every day I would come and then he would say, no, we want the jacuzzi here, we want the toilet here, and then we'll turn it around. And
a lot of executive decisions are made in the bathroom. I can speak for myself. And a lot of wonderful ideas have come in the bathroom as well.
Oh, yes.
So it's important.
I learned that. But the basic thing was that I just kept at it. It was frustrating. It was annoying. It was, because as soon as I sat in the office and I had the footsteps of my boss coming in, I was like, oh, here we go again. Toilet design. But finally one day was off. And what has it taught me? I pay a lot of attention to details. a lot of attention
Well,
to
you
details.
should. I think most architects should, so we won't have the cases of
Should.
collapsed buildings.
Hopefully. Well, that's even another thing entirely. And my guy in the office, at times, they don't understand. So we've done a project, they've printed out the documents, and I'm going through. I have my red biro, and, immediately I'm circling, even to the point where, my notes have to be in order. And the guy is looking at me, he's wondering, what's wrong with this? We've done corrections for 4 or 5 times. But believe you me, I just believe wherever our work goes, when people see what you have done, in that first instance, they must be able to know that, this person really put his time.
There should be a stamp of success, of excellence.
Of excellence. He's put his time, he's put a thought process, he's put everything into it. So I'm still trying to get them to understand that. And look, where I am today, and I'm still not even where I want to be, where I'm going.
Yes.
But at least where we've gotten to today, it's by virtue of diligence. One of the challenges we have in this country is mediocrity. I absolutely hate mediocrity.
Would you say that that's one of your secrets of growth?
Yes. Yes, but it's also subjective because of our unique issues here in the country, because at times excellence is not necessarily rewarded with will I say projects or the things that should come with it.
But eventually it is.
Yes, which is why I have
You wait for it.
Oh yes, perseverance. So key, perseverance.
So excellence, perseverance. What else are your secrets of growth?
Diligence, I mentioned that.
Yes.
What I call DPP, diligence, perseverance, passion, passions, and then excellence. Those 4 things
Are key to you.
Yeah, key to me.
Now, in building your business, if you were going to talk to a young man, or let's say a young lady, because we have quite a few of us in.
And brilliant ones.
Thank you very much. I would like to come into your industry.
Yeah.
What would be the first things you tell them?
Patience. It's a very tasking industry. If you're not ready to learn, like I've said, if you're not ready, you must know where you want to go, or where you're going, where you want to be. And patience, I think that's the key word, because we architects at times are not the most patient people, and at times you don't have time to teach. When I started out, my bosses were willing to teach me. In fact, I had friends in another office then, one of the top architectural firms, which sadly has, I don't even know if they're still existing now, but they had some white guys there and the black Nigerian partners who started with them. And the guy, he used to tell me a story that every first day of the week, the first day of every week, the boss will come in and he will ask questions. Okay, so guys, during this last week, what are the challenges you had on site? And they will discuss. It was like a forum. And they will discuss, they will note, he will draw the details. There's something about in architecture, detailing. He will do the details, and you don't find that nowadays.
I don't think you find that in most professions.
Well, maybe some of the big firms, yes, because I have colleagues, I have friends there, yes. But most of it, nobody has time. You're still trying to survive. You're still trying to get your business,
off the ground,
stabilize, and then, in addition to that, you have to teach someone the ropes. But I found out that, look, that's still the best way to go about it. If you teach them, if you're sincere with them, if they see the reason behind what you're doing and why you're doing it, then they're bound to, take a cue from that. So if you're planning to start up in this kind of industry, like I said, I don't know so many people who wanted to be architects at a young age. Some people come into it, some discover you like it, some start and you just get tired of it. But once you're there and you have that, it's a hard thing, you have that thing, you know that that's what you want to do, then just stick in there, persevere.
And get trained?
Oh yes, if you're willing, you get trained, also be willing to, what I call it, train yourself on the job. I'll use a good example. One of my friends who is a partner, an executive partner in one of the top firms now, I remember when he started out, and we used to laugh about this because, there were like 3 of us who grew up or who went to school together, close friends. And when he started in the firm, he just used to come back and say, look, his bosses would abuse him, and just yab him and say, this guy doesn't know anything, and just make fun of him. But my guy would sit down there, the last person to leave the office, he stuck through it. In 3 years, which is a record in that firm, he became a director. When I was envious of him then. And in 14 years, so like, I mean, now he practically runs the business with the others.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I want to take you back to challenges quickly. Yeah. You talked about financial challenges and kicking off. Yeah. You talked about finding the right location. What else was a big issue then?
Referrals. Because one of the major things in this business is that people need to know what you're doing. So, and if you don't have the projects or the jobs, how do you advertise? I mean, well, you don't advertise. How do you show people what you're
you've
doing?
done?
When you have projects, you put them on a profile, a brochure. You know how that starts off? 2 pages, becomes 4 pages, becomes 8, becomes 10, you know, and that's how it starts. So then, because as a professional, what's it called? You can't advertise. You're not really allowed to, you know, go about
go on the radio, go on the television.
So it has to be by, oh, guy, this is what I do.
One-on-one.
Friend, this is what one-on-one situations. And how will I put it? The major jobs that we have done now, that's how we got it. If I can remember a particular one, a brother's friend, you know, just called me up one day. He's a project manager, and he says, look, we do quite a number of projects. Will you be willing to bring your profile so he could show his boss and all that? So I sent a profile to him, which I thought was very lean then. And about a few days later, I get a call from the boss, a lady as well, and she says, oh, okay, I've seen your profile. Come in and let's talk. So I went down to the office. We sat down, had a good discussion. She looked at the project, said, oh, it's nice. And there weren't so many projects, just the little I had done, and there were lots of proposals. You know, also you have, I mean, that's another thing. You could do 100 proposals and 5 come through. You come through. That's the way it works, you know. So, and she then said, okay, we'll see how it pans out. Next week, I get a call. Okay, you want to try your hands on this? Oh, willingly. I mean, we did that. It didn't work out. And then about 2 or 3 months down the line, I just get a call from her. Oh yeah, Kunle, come right now. I got to the office. There was a client who had a massive project on hand and had paid someone who had messed up and had gone away with her money.
Why do you think you got the second call? Because initially you said that you looked over some things, it didn't work out, and then after a while you got the call. You got a call for something else.
Because when she called on the first one, I was just willing to do it.
You were willing to do it. The attitude was right.
Well, and as well, there was no financial incentive then, because our job, you probably have to get to a certain stage before you even get paid. But I just said, look, it's a sacrifice you have to make at one point in time or the other. So I just said, well,
I think the right attitude towards work also sends a message. Usually when you have people who tend to push the money, first of all, instead of pushing the work. Obviously you didn't do that. That's why you got another call. Some people just come to you and all they hear is, okay, money, and they're not even talking about what they can or cannot do.
Well, if you push the money and you can't do the work, then you don't get work again. But when you push the work, the money will come. It's something my parents always, you know, hammered into my head too as well. Said, look, I mean, I can remember my late mom and my dad. There was a particular time, just when I was starting off, sat down in the living room and said, you know how parents will call you, mommy, you know, you see this, as you're going into the world now and that, be careful, don't let money be, you know, then it sounded, you were like, but, you know, it's stuck in there.
It's stuck in there, and then it comes up when you need it.
It comes up when you need it. So that has always helped.
Well, Ms. Kunle, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
I must say I'm inspired and encouraged.
To be an architect?
Probably not. But in my own field, it was lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much.
I hope you've learned a little. We'll be back after the break. Be deliberate about your business decision this week. Be concerned about your inputs, customer relations, time management, excellent and smart work. Know what is important in your business. Face the week with a positive mindset. The 4-Hour Work Week, written by Timothy Ferris, is our book for the week. This book teaches us the value of risk and how to bravely face the things that we fear. It also explains the mindset of our customers and how to make the most of ours. So, take time and read the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, written by Timothy Ferris. Now, if you're a small or medium-scale enterprise or a big one, and you'd like to tell us your story, challenges, and success, we'll be glad to listen. Reach out to us, and we'll return the favor. Till next week, remember, no amount of branding can replace quality products or goods and services. So, if you dey dash your customer plenty jara, they follow and laugh, they play well. And what if they say, not be your turn? You no go last though. Try to be the best at what you do, and I'll see you at the top.